Hello and welcome along to the match as Real Madrid are in Germany preparing for their biggest game of the season so far. Los Blancos take on Borussia Dortmund on Wednesday evening in the first leg of their Champions League semi-final. With me as ever to preview the match is Tim Stannard. And Tim, I think the whole footballing world is looking forward to this one.
Yeah, this game has really captured the imagination because it's perhaps two of the most exciting sides in world football as well. Sides who are known for their attacking football and sides are potentially fairly equally matched. Dortmund had the better of Real Madrid in the group stage of the Champions League, but things are very different now and really looking forward to this game.
Absolutely. We can take a look at how Real Madrid arrived in Germany. There was actually a fantastic reception for the team. Plenty of German Madridistas out in force, making plenty of noise.
Yeah, it's just going to be a fantastic football celebration in Dortmund for this game. The first, well, it's going to be a fantastic two-parter. And although it's 65,000 passionate German fans Real Madrid are going to be playing in front of, I don't think it's going to be a major problem. It's not what you'd call perhaps an intimidating atmosphere, but just a very passionate atmosphere. They're certainly going to suffer more in the Vicente Calderón on Saturday. And it's just a fascinating football battle between a very attacking team in Real Madrid, which doesn't have the strongest defence, and a side in Dortmund who actually have the strongest defence out of the four, although they're not known for it. And it's a side who are there just because of that game against Malaga. And with Real Madrid, it's very different. There's just a certain momentum at the moment, starting off not a great campaign in the group stages. Tough against Manchester United, as you'd expect, the current English champions, and fairly comfortable against Galatasaray, but this is a really good one. This is the true Champions League. This is the reigning Spanish champions against, until a couple of weeks ago, the reigning German champions, and this is what makes it so exciting.
Absolutely. I really think everybody is looking forward to this game. Now, you mentioned that Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund are two very attacking sides. Madrid are actually the top scorers away from home in the Champions League this season. 10 games in the 5 matches that they've played away from the Santiago Bernabeu. I guess that'll stand them in very good stead.
Yeah, it's a fascinating approach perhaps from Jose Mourinho. People think he's a defensive coach and he likes to keep a clean sheet, but he actually adapts his tactics to every side. That was certainly the case with Inter Milan. They were very hard to break down. They'd get a lead and sit on it, but I think he knows that the way that Real Madrid traditionally plays, allow the opposition to score 3, we'll score 4 or score 5. So he's built the side to be just full of goals from all over the place. So from Higuain to Benzema to Cristiano Ronaldo, of course. And we're now seeing Mesut Ozil knocking them in, but they come from the centre of the park, from people like Sergio Ramos and Pepe. And this is why the Real Madrid under Mourinho, I think, is particularly exciting. And I think Mourinho is a very pragmatic manager. I think he just adopts the footballing style to whichever team he's playing. And Real Madrid are known for their counter-attacking football. I think that's going to be very useful against the Dortmund side.
Absolutely. You saw Cristiano Ronaldo there, who is the Champions League top scorer this season with 11 goals. Right, let's take a look at the starting 11 for Real Madrid for the game on Wednesday night. Now, I'm saying the starting 11 because Jose Mourinho has actually confirmed to us in the pre-match press conference this is what it's going to be.
He has indeed helped me out a little bit. Yeah, Marcelo may have been in left back, but you know what, I think Coentrao would have had that spot, but he's injured as well. Arbeloa is suspended, so Ramos comes in to right back, which is a pretty good replacement for him, which leaves Pepe and Varane in the centre of the park. The only doubt he did say was over Di Maria, who's just had a kid, so congratulations. And yeah, it's a case of whether he's had enough rest in order to play that game. And I think we're pretty certain now that the pattern he's following with Higuain and Benzema. So we're going to see Higuain up front for the away matches, because in these games, this is where you really need to work hard. You really need to chase down every ball, every opportunity. And in the Santiago Bernabeu, perhaps, if the tie ends up with a narrow win for Dortmund or a draw for Real Madrid, you need goals. And Karim Benzema has goals in the Champions League, 30 out of 50. So I think that's going to be the tactic there. It's an incredible choice he's got up front.
Yeah, despite 1 or 2 injuries and some suspensions, that looks like a very strong starting lineup for Real Madrid. Right, let's hear from the manager himself, Jose Mourinho, who's been speaking at the pre-match press conference and has been speaking about the quality of this year's semi-finals.
In relation to the match of tomorrow, I think that are in the semi-finals 4 of the 6 teams that almost everybody was waiting for. Sometimes arrive in the semi-final a surprise team, somebody that was a real surprise during the competition. That's not the case. I think almost everybody was waiting for these 4 teams to be in the semi-finals. Maybe Juventus, maybe Man United, but is about these 5-6 teams. So it's a semi-final where I think it's difficult to predict which team is going to play the final. And I would say 25% for Borussia and 25% for Real Madrid. Chances of winning the competition.
Jose Mourinho speaking in the pre-match press conference. Now let's speak a little bit about Borussia Dortmund, because Jose Mourinho, right from the start of this competition, has singled them out as potential winners. He's always been very impressed by them.
Absolutely, and perhaps people thought because they were playing them in the group stages that Mourinho was perhaps managing expectations with the Spanish press, who thought it was just going to be a fairly comfortable game against a side people didn't know that well, even though they'd won the Bundesliga title twice and the German Cup as well. But he was completely right. He knows this football. He knows this team. It's a very young team. Players like Reusser, players like Lewandowski, who seems like he's been around a long time, and Goetze. We're looking at players of 20, 22, 24. An incredibly hard-working side with a fantastic footballing philosophy of fairly good at the back, but just pressure up front. So a striker with three behind. And some interesting statistics came out, published by UEFA, about the top 10 hardest working players, perhaps those who'd run the most kilometres, and 5 of them were Dortmund, which is why it's Barcelona style, but with a little bit extra gas, you could say, a little bit extra speed. And Mourinho was right, and they had the better of Real Madrid in both those games. They won the first one in Dortmund, and they almost won the second one in the Bernabeu as Ozil's free kick late on. But it's a very different Real Madrid, and Jurgen Klopp has said this. He doesn't expect those 2 games in the group stage to have any relation to this one. And I think Dortmund are going into it, out of all the sides, with the least amount of pressure. They're not there to make up the numbers. They're a worthy semi-finalist, but they're there to do their best, perhaps. And Real Madrid have the pressure. It's Real Madrid who need to get through to that final.
They certainly do. On the way to La Decima, hopefully at Wembley next month. Just time for us to get Tim's prediction for the game in Germany. How do you see this one going?
Well, overall, I think we're going to see 7-8 goals in the 2 ties. I think it's going to be one of those where there's going to be a few ups and downs for Madrid. I think in Germany it's going to end 2-2, and that should be enough to take Real Madrid through to the final. That
certainly would be a very good result for Real Madrid. Right, that's all we've got time for on this edition of The Match. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed the game. From Tim and myself, it's adios.